Fire Call, the Fire Safety Show, Division Chief Jim Sideras.
Hi, my name is Division Chief Jim Sideras, and you are watching Fire Call, where this month we're going to take you behind the scenes Sioux Falls Fire Rescue, get you on an actual water rescue call. You don't see those every day. We have the cameras right there. Get in one of the stations. We're going to go to Action Station 10, talk to the crew of Action Station 10, look at how they have their new truck of the month. We're going to talk to them about computers, trucks, getting geared up, everything you want to know from those guys at Station 10. And they're a fun bunch of guys to hang with. And of course, we got shout-outs. Now this month, got some cool shout-outs. First shout's from Dwayne. Dwayne is giving a shout-out to the Parks Hills Volunteer Fire Department in Parks Hill, Kentucky. And we have Logan. Logan wants a shout-out to the Sandy Lake Volunteer Fire Department in Sandy Lake, Pennsylvania. And Brett. Brett wants a shout-out to the Gravel Hill Volunteer Fire Department in Phil Campbell, Alabama. Now, if you get your questions answered, if you get a shout-out, you're going to get our new, not the old ones, new, sassy Sioux Falls Fire Rescue Blood, Sweat, No Fear t-shirts. Only here. And that's if we answer your questions. Now, I told you what's going to be on the show. I want you to sit back, watch us, spend some time with us, and maybe you will want to be a firefighter with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Anytime you got a rescue, things can go bad very quickly, and it's a high-stress situation. You got to have well-trained people that not only can do it in training, but do it for real. And we're on a water rescue call. Call just wrapped up. We're going to talk to Drew Byer. Now, Drew, you've been around the block with our department for how many years?
4 years now.
And previously, how many years were you down in another department?
Over 20.
What department was that?
Cement Paramedics.
Down in Sioux City?
Yes, sir.
So now you were here, you got called in, you're on Rescue 4 today?
Yes.
Sassy shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us kind of overall what happened. What did you get? What did you know that you were going to have? What did you find here? And then how do you think about setting up these operations?
First of all, we were dispatched for a people in the water rescue call situation on the river channel down by 57th and Western area. We were in the neighborhood, we approached it, met by first responder, a bystander, noticed it initially, we followed them in. Come to find out the patients were on the opposite side of the river, so we then moved our command area to that location and did a quick size up. It was determined it was best to do a shore-based rescue initially, at least to secure the people from falling free from the log they were hung on to.
So they weren't floating down the river, they were
actually freelancing or canoeing on the high waters.
They were on the river, but they were essentially in one area. They weren't moving with the current.
Right. They were actually hung into a snag log sticking into the stream. They managed to pull that and hang on to help. Luckily, they had life vests on, which is a key factor in this situation that saved their lives probably. Our crews got set up over here and met with other rescue crews, did a quick size up. We deployed 3 personnel to go out and at least help stabilize the situation, make sure people are okay, they're hanging on tight, until such time we get our boat in a position to assist in the rescue.
Perfect. Well, Drew, we're going to track down some of the rest of the crew and appreciate your help.
No problem.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That first leadership to make those decisions for any rescue usually relies on the captain. We got one of our best captains, Captain John Button. John, you were first on scene. Now, what's running through your mind when you're thinking about this overall? We got a rescue, we got people in the water, we got a lot of water moving through with these heavy rains we're having. What runs through your mind as that first captain, first officer on scene?
Well, probably the first thing is obviously how long have these people been in the water? It makes a huge difference. You know,
because of what? The
current is moving so fast. What they're holding on to, I mean, they're obviously scared. Adrenaline's pumping, so they're getting worn out. They're getting tired. The water is going to be cold. It's going to be, the cold takes a tremendous toll on your body when it comes to strength and stamina. So we want to find out how long. We had a person witness it, so we knew that they'd been in the water about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we just want to find out where they're at, and so. You know, we know what resources we have. We just need to find out. We've got a lot of different options when it comes to water rescue, and we need to try to figure out as quickly as possible, because again, time is of the essence, what we're going to use for what tactics we're going to use.
And so the way you went with was, tell us what you kind of laid out your plan to be.
Well, we ended up on the other side of the river, and I knew from being on the other side of the river that wasn't a good option, because they were very near. You know, they were still in fast water, but they were near slow water on the other side of the river from where we were at. So we quickly moved to the other side, not knowing exactly how long it'd be before another truck got here. We decided to go initially with a go, and it's one of our last resorts, but sometimes it is the first resort.
Which is, give us the priorities.
Well, first they want to self-rescue, and then we want to throw.
So we couldn't self-rescue. They're
Right.
tied up in trees. You
The
can't
next
throw
thing,
anything.
Next thing is throw, and we did actually get a line initially to the gentleman that was in the water, but we weren't going to get one to the lady. The next one is row, which is get one of our boats in the water, and we were working on that. We put a boat in the water probably about a half a mile downstream. And then the last resort normally is go, but again, sometimes depending on the situation, if you got people that are really getting tired and it's going to be a little while, we need to get them secured somehow. And so we sent 3 guys out in cold water immersion suits, lifelines, and got out to the people and got them secured till the boat was able to go on the scene.
Great. Well, we're going to track down the last person who was out there, and we appreciate your help and keep up the good work, John.
You bet. Thanks, Jim.
When anytime we have a rescue, especially water rescue, putting people in the water is our last option, most dangerous option. Well, we have one of those guys that did that, highly trained, Luke Langenfeld, Rescue 5. Got it right this time.
Get it right.
And now tell us, when you go in the water, what's going through your mind as you're actually going to enter the water? We got a lot of water rolling down here. The hydraulics is a problem. Water's really cold. What are some things that are running through your mind as you're told, go?
Well, obviously, safety is always our number one concern. You know, safety for the victims, get them out as fast as we possibly can, but at the same time, you know, being safe and make sure we don't put a rescuer's life at more danger than we actually need to. So, but you're always looking when the waters are high like this. You know, you're looking for. There's always extra debris in the water, so you're looking for
both under the water and flowing in the water.
Absolutely, and that's the key. There's a lot of stuff you can't see, so you always have to be caution. You know, going out there, you have to use caution. So, yeah, I think those are the safety is number one. You know, expecting the unexpected out there. A lot of stuff you can't see. And just getting to the victims and get them out as safe and as fast as you can.
And then even working with the victims, a lot of victims get panicky. They might jump on you and push you down just to keep their heads above water. So all those things come into play. Now, one of the things you're wearing is one of our suits. Now, tell us about when we look at these cold water immersion suits. It's nice out here, and people are going to be saying don't even email this question because I'm going to answer it right now. They're going to say, hey, it's 85 degrees out. People are in shorts. You know, they're running through sprinklers. Why are you wearing cold water immersion suits when you do these rescues?
Well, I think my personal opinion is any water rescue, it's a cold water situation. There's always a chance of hypothermia if you're in the water long enough.
Hypothermia is your core body temperature decreases because of that water sapping away your heat.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So there's always a chance of that. That's one of the reasons, just to keep warm, because you never know how long you're going to be in the water to get the rescue done. The second thing that I think most important about these suits is just they keep you dry, and then the buoyancy. You know, it's kind of our fancy life jacket. You know, and actually they keep us warm as well. So I think the biggest two things is warmth and buoyancy.
Great. Now, what would you advise people that if they're going to go in the water? One, don't go in the water. The water's high. It's right. You're going to have people have to come out and save you if you get caught up in the trees. But what advice would you give people?
Well, number one, I think when it's inside, like you said, don't go in the water. You know, it's just not safe. Mm-hmm. And number two, you know, if you're out there, make sure you know what you're doing and be safe. You know, if you don't know, educate yourself.
And this isn't the water to start getting those basic skills up to speed. This is water for much more advanced canoers and kayakers.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, look, let's get your stuff back into service, and appreciate your help.
No problem.
For the truck of the month, we got a sassy new truck. It's the pride of the West Side. It's going to be Tender 10. And with me is Dustin Lupkes. We're going to talk about your favorite truck. You're stationed out here at Station 10?
Correct.
And what's the name of this truck?
This is Tender 10.
And there's special stuff about this truck. Now we gotta give them the wave to get the truck here. Now, this truck can pump and roll at the same time. What's that mean when a truck can pump and roll?
What that means is the nozzle on the top, which would be the staying gun you see going off right now. If we're under 5 miles an hour, as the truck is moving, it does have the capability to pump and operate, which it works very well for our foam capabilities, along with our water.
Now, when would we use something like that, this capability?
If we had the tanker fire just down the road like we had in 2006, we could roll up on that, automatically be in foam mode, and start putting foam right on that, instead of having to pull over and get everything set up on the pump.
And that's remote control from both inside, and you can be away from the truck and control that?
Yes, it does have a wireless remote control and we can put that on auto mode so it can oscillate to whatever he wants to do, being the operator.
Now, when we talk about this, how many gallons of water is in this truck?
This truck has 2,000 gallons of water in it.
And it can pump at how much per gallon? How many gallons per minute can it pump at?
It's 1250 on the gun, but right now the nozzle is at 1,000 gallons a minute.
So you have to be fast, accurate, and know what you're doing when you're talking about 2-minute pump of this truck at full capacity.
Right. What we're trying to do is just get it knocked down and a controlled stage. Then we could go into further firefighting techniques.
Now we're using this truck all the time, even though it's a tender. We could use it pretty much just like we would use any other truck.
Yes, this truck has all the same stuff that all our engines have on it. It does have the 700 feet of 5-inch hose, which we hook to the hydrants. For in the city, it does have all of our EMS supplies. We do have high-rise packs on it. Then this one, being that we use it as a tender as well, it does have a drop tank in there too.
Now some people are going to say, why, if this is a tanker, why don't we call it tankers, we call it tenders?
Well, because in the wildland service, what a tanker is an airplane. So if we were ever to use this truck to go out and help out somewhere where they had a wildfire in the state of South Dakota or something like that, and we requested tanker 10, they would probably figure out that they needed a water drop from the aircraft.
So that's why we're using all of our terminology then is consistent nationwide.
Right.
And tenders are big trucks.
Tenders are big trucks that carry a lot of water.
There you go. Well, let's get up and take a look at this truck. And we got quite a few questions. Now that question that we did ask, what is a monitor? And that's from Craig. Craig lives in Canada, actually lives in Ontario, Canada. So a monitor is basically what, Dustin?
Monitor is the device that you see up on top of the truck there.
The big deck gun.
Right, deck gun. We also have what are called ground monitors. They are placed on the ground, and we can hook a couple of different lines up to those, and what they're designed to do is put out a lot of water in a little amount of time.
Okay, so staffed. How do we staff this truck?
We generally have 4 on this truck. We have a driver, or a FAO, fire apparatus operator, a captain, and then 2 firefighters.
So you respond to that 4-person engine company complement, just like we do any other truck in the city.
Yes, that is correct.
Essentially a jet dump, we can dump this tank of water relatively fast into a holding tank.
Right. The holding tank that's on the right-hand side of this truck, or the passenger side, is we can drop from the rear end dump, we can drop it in about a minute.
All 2,000 gallons.
All 2,000 gallons in there.
And then we would just do a tanker relay or a tender relay, a shuttle relay to get more water.
And then it takes, if we hook up the 5-inch hose from the hydrant to this truck with our water supply right here at the station we did, it takes just under a minute and a half to fill this truck with 2,000 gallons.
Okay.
So you're losing most of your time on the relay part, not so much on the dumping and the filling, but you're losing it on your road time.
Okay.
Which, with this now, with dumping it in a minute and refilling it in a minute and a half, is far greater than what the older style ones were.
And one of the reasons we have this particular truck out here on the west side is because we're in an area that doesn't have a lot of hydrants.
Right.
We respond to, part of the area that we respond to outside the city has no hydrant system.
Yep.
So we're essentially having to use these drop tanks as portable hydrants. Okay, you talked about, now one question we had from Adrian. Adrian lives in New Hampshire. Adrian wants to know, Adrian's a fire explorer. Tell us again, how much water does this tender hold?
This water tender holds 2,000 gallons of water.
So there you go, Adrian. We got your question.
What we'd do with that is if we went out to a rural area that didn't have our hydrant system, we have a drop tank that's positioned up here. We're just going to, all we do is one button on the back, and that folds just right down along the side. Then what we do is we'd have a couple of firefighters come right over here,
and pick it up,
pick that up, set it out, spread it out, and there we would have our drop tank ready.
Beats the heck. The old way we have to slide it, manually slide it back in, and it took a lot of work.
Right.
Jared from Jasper, Alabama wants to know, why do y'all use roll-up doors?
Well, the roll-up doors are pretty simple. All you do is lift up on the bottom, and they pretty much go up all by themselves.
Lower maintenance, easy to use.
Correct, correct. In here we have all our EMS supplies. And up here in the north, Jared, we do have compartment heaters because it does get cold in the wintertime. So with these style of doors, they don't really have a tendency to freeze shut then, like the other ones would.
And we can have a problem with that. They also save space. We don't have to worry about doors being open.
Correct.
People hitting doors.
Yeah, it's just another obstacle to get around.
Okay, Dustin, 2 questions. One's from Brad. Brad lives in Jonestown, Pennsylvania. And Eric. Eric lives in Tarentum, Pennsylvania. We got a big bunch of watches in Pennsylvania.
That's good.
They want to know about light bars and the colors we select for our light bars.
Well, we do have a design committee that does help design the trucks. We try and follow all the NFPA standards. With the blue and the red, we try and do something a little bit different. You know, drivers, when you come up behind them, a lot of times they get quite accustomed to different colored flashing lights, and we try and throw something a little bit different that they're not used to, so they'll see that. And with the LEDs now, whether it be red, blue, amber, or white, they are fairly bright and they do get their attention.
And LEDs are something new too. We used to have the light bulb, as we think about it.
Right.
These are all LED, low draw,
Yep.
bright lights. Okay, Dustin. Now another thing we looked at this truck is the bright contrasting stripes, both front and rear of this truck. Tell us a little about those.
Those are called the chevron stripes. What they are, it's just another thing for people to help see us. They're reflective. When cars are coming up behind us, a lot of the times if you're facing or going with the flow of traffic rather than facing the traffic, they're just going to see your red lights in the back. That can look like brake lights to people. So what these do is they're reflective and they stick out the orange and the red.
And they really help out in the interstate, and you have part of the interstate system.
Correct.
As it runs through town here. Now we also have in this truck our attack lines.
Yes, we do. We do have our 2 pre-connects on there, just like the other trucks do that are the first due trucks or first in line.
And then what else do we have on this side of the truck, Dustin?
On this side of the truck, we're going to have, what's new to this style is our driver's gears right up front here. Some of our other trucks, or most of our other trucks, it's on the back part of the truck. What's nice about this is when that driver gets out of the driving spot and he goes to get dressed at a fire call, he just has to go right here, and his SCBA is mounted right here instead of laying on the ground or on the bottom of the shelf, and it's not in a big pile. Also, we have different connections in here, and most of the trucks are similar. In this compartment, we have our sledge, we have our forcible entry tools. We do have a slide out on these. This is just, it helps a lot. It really saves a lot of space rather than having shelving in there where they just pile stuff up and then you're,
It makes it easier to get to those connections and pull out the ones you need, especially at night or in the dark or when you're in a hurry.
Right, correct. Another thing that we have on this truck that the other trucks don't have are wireless headsets.
Okay.
The driver and the captain both have wireless headsets. The other trucks, what they do is the driver will have to unplug his headset from inside, then come out here and plug it in so that he can hear the radio traffic going on. Now he can go in, put that on, turn it on, and he can do whatever he wants to out here. Hearing that
radio traffic is so important.
Correct.
So that he knows is there problems inside and they need to change the water flow, stop, run different lines.
Yep.
Well, let's keep moving around this truck, Dustin.
All right, in here, we're going to have our spill dry. We also clean up
Accidents.
with this. We have accidents, we have fluids. We do go on those calls too. Not only do we go EMS and just the fires and rescuing people, we do have to do the EMS calls. We have our tools that we take into our fire.
Set up already, carry the irons.
Your irons, correct. And then going back here, we have our high-rise packs.
Which
And
means
these-
high-rise, people can say, what's a high-rise pack?
The high-rise is any building that has a standpipe system
And
in
why
it.
do you have the hoses laid out just like that?
We do this so that they're in the straps. We hook this right to the standpipe. We have one hooked up to it. And then this is 150 feet of hose so that we can go pretty much anywhere on that floor in the building.
We can send our firefighters up, 10 flights, with hose already, and they're
Right.
ready to go to war.
Yep, and then what the driver would do would be to hook up his hose from this truck to the standpipe system outside to supply that standpipe
Perfect.
with water. And these are new to us too. We used to have just the large packs that you pile everything in, and they're fairly clumsy and fairly tough to carry. So these are nice too, because you can just slide it right out, right onto your shoulder and go up the stairs, and you still have a free hand, where the other ones you had to hang on with two hands.
Manhandle a lot more.
Correct. Back in here we have our appliances for doing more of the tender operations. We're going to have a strainer.
So if you have to pull water out of this pond or someplace?
Right, right. If we have to take water, get water from a different water source other than a hydrant, we want to hook a strainer on there. What that's doing is it's taking out any large pieces that would get hung up in our pump, any rocks or sticks or debris that would go into our pump and wreck our pump. That's going to save that. On the back in here, we also have a floating strainer, which is new to some people. If you can see that down in there, that actually floats on top of the water, and it submerges just a little bit in case you do have a lot of weeds or anything like that and you don't want to shove it down, or sand. If it's really sandy and where you're drafting your water from, you don't want to pick all that sand up and run it through your pump.
Perfect. And then you have a monitor.
Yes, and this is our ground monitor. This is a blitz fire. What this one does is it sets up on the ground. You fold these two back, and it's set lower than our other ones. You hook your water source back up to here, and the pressure, the downforce, pushes down on it rather than sitting high up.
So it just kind of drives into the ground and locks it down.
Right.
Perfect. Well, Dustin, I think you've covered just about everything in this truck.
All right.
Glad to have you on board.
Wonderful.
Thanks a lot, Dustin.
Thank you.
It's a hot day out, and it gets hot in South Dakota just like it is anywhere in the country, and our firefighters are wearing lots of gear. So we have questions about how do we stay hydrated, and I have Robert Dykstra. Robert Dykstra, let me tell you about Robert. He's a FAO.
Yes.
And hopefully he's going to be promoted to
Captain.
Yeah.
Hopefully. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. I'm pulling for you.
Well,
I'm
thanks.
way behind you on this one.
Okay, good. Well,
Way
then I'm
behind
in
you.
if you're pulling for
Okay,
me.
we got a question from Zach. Zach lives in Wyoming. They're all talking about kind of the same thing, but one about, my papers are stuck together. It's so hot and humid. Alda lives in Ontario, Canada. Sam from Quincy, Illinois. And last but not least, James. James lives in West Virginia. They want to know, when you think about how hot it is, how do firefighters stay hydrated? Because you can lose up to 2 liters of water of sweat fighting a fire.
Yes, we do sweat quite a bit. I mean, just like we're standing here in the sun, it's warm. And
I'm starting to lather up. Are you?
A little bit. And that's one reason we stress physical fitness. So we work on our physical training, trying to stay in shape that way. And we drink a lot of water, plain and simple. We carry water jugs on all the trucks, all the apparatus, and we drink water whenever we can. In fact, you'll see a lot of the firefighters carry water jugs around throughout the day and just sip on them throughout the day. And if we would get a structure fire or a call where we're going to be geared up for quite some time, a lot of the firefighters will drink a lot of water en route and try to start that hydration process early.
And then we also, at large fires, we put people in rehab. So we
Correct.
can monitor their
Vital signs.
and we also give them the cool water because we really work closely with the Red Cross, and they show up at all our fires.
Yes.
Sam Hill and the rest of the gang that's Red Cross shows up, and they're pushing fluids on our people.
Yeah. They help not only the homeowner or the resident, but they also help us as the firefighters. They provide us with some snacks and some healthy snacks, as well as some refreshments.
Now, I think one thing people don't realize is, and this is for everyone at home, coffee, anything with coffee, Mountain Dew, anything with caffeine will actually dehydrate you. And start drinking beer on a hot summer day, potential for dehydration there.
Yes.
Best thing, from your opinion.
Water.
There you go.
Water.
And all you
And
can
a lot
drink.
of it.
Great. Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.
the man. We got a primo question that everyone wants to know, and it's from Corey. Corey lives in South Carolina, and he says, firefighters getting on the trucks, should they have their seatbelts on while donning SCBA? Well, here's Troy. Troy Snetter. Now, you have developed the T4 technique, and that stands for Troy's Tender 10 technique for getting your gear on and your seatbelts on. You don't say much, do you, Troy? Jump right in there, buddy.
I don't know how to respond to that, Jim.
A hearty handshake. Congratulations. You did a great job on coming up with that. Really working at how do we do that, and you've come up with this technique.
Well, it's very important when we're on the truck, be wearing our safety equipment,
Especially our safety belts.
especially our safety belt. We have to be ready when we get to a fire to go into the fire. So the first thing we do when we get in the truck is we put our straps on for our shoulder pack. Then we reach for our seat belt. And everything else we need to do with our shoulder pack, we can do after our seat belt is on. We can take the time and make sure we don't have any straps crossed, and we're good to go when the truck stops.
So this allows you to essentially, as you do all the adjustments for your SCBA, your air pack, while you're en route, and you haven't taken any time getting out of the station, get out quick, and then you're already at the fire, so that essentially drive time is when you're getting all geared up to go into fight fire.
That's right, Jim, and time is important.
And safety is really critical because we have to think if we get in an accident, we have to make sure that firefighters are belted in and ready to go. So he's geared up, and now he gets a fire, he can turn around, step out, he's all ready to go. Now back in the old days, and not so old days, mind you, this question relates to riding in the back of fire trucks. Kaylee lives in T, South Dakota, and she wants a shout out to the T Volunteer Fire Department. And her question is, why don't firefighters ride in the back of fire trucks? Now let me tell you, when I started, this was where we rode. That's just the way it is. Now Troy, why aren't we doing that anymore?
Well, at South Dakota, it gets a little cool in the wintertime, but it's not necessary. It doesn't save a lot of time, and it's dangerous. There's no seat belts back here.
It's very dangerous, you're right. Fall off here, you could be run over by another truck. We thought it would save time by being able to pull hose faster, and this was more of a tradition thing.
It's important, too. We have a lot of communications going on in the truck on the way to a fire. The captain is telling us who he wants to go where and do what. The truck will get stopped and we have time to jump off and run back here and grab our hose.
So we're not really saving anything, we're putting our firefighters at risk.
Yes, sir.
And with guys like you, we don't want to put you at risk because you, my friend, are our most valuable resource. Obviously, I wasn't when I started, but you are.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Troy. When you got crews like the ones at Station 10 or all through the City of Sioux Falls, you really got the best people. They are trained and they're ready to do the best job to save you, because when seconds count, we just have to make the right decisions and take action right away. There's just no time for smoking and joking. It's Action City. So it's good to see those guys and they're ready to go. Now I got some more shout outs, and these shout outs are still coming from all over the country. We get hundreds of thousands, I think we're at 250,000 people watching our show, either on the internet, on TV, or on YouTube. So it's kind of fun to get that feedback. And one of those is Ben. Ben wants a shout out to the Westcott Fire Department in Colorado. And Ethan wants a shout out to the Arcadia Volunteer Fire Company Juniors in Owens Mill, Maryland. And our last shout out is Kyle. Kyle wants a shout out to the Norton Fire Engine Company in East Norton, Pennsylvania. And of course, you get your question answered, you get your shout outs, get a Sioux Falls Fire Rescue t-shirt. Now part of this is we want to really aggressively get people from outside the community as well as in this side of the community to test for Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. We really want to represent everybody in our community, and that diversity is a good thing. So we're hoping that they wear these out, some good free advertising for our department, and darn it, we like advertising, especially when we can show off our department. My name is Division Chief Jim Sideras, and you've been watching Fire Call.